All right, I'm here with John Douthit. First time in front of the camera at a Blister Summit, I believe. Ever. He's never been in front of a camera. But we are talking about some new Icelantic skis, the 23-24 collection. And we're going to go over a bunch of things today, but why don't we start with the skis behind us right now?
Yeah, so these are the Shaman 2.0. So if you know anything about our brand, we've been around since 2005-ish. And the Shamans were some of the first skis to come out of the factory. They're weird. They had this pointed tip. They had a cult following, like lift line kind of ski. And people like, what are those? And people loved or hated them. But the people that loved them, oh my gosh, they loved them. So we determined we were going to bring these back, but in a kind of more modern fashion. Because people that loved these skis, they would ride them for like 10 years. Mm-hmm. And we stopped making them 10 years after the first year we stopped making them. And so my first year, something like 6 or 7 years ago, people would just call me every day. I need new Shamans. Where am I getting these things? So we decided to bring these back again. A little more modern, little different shape to it, but same side cut, same thing that everybody loved about that initial Shaman. And then also brought for the first time ever, a skinnier version. So this is 110. This is 99 underfoot. And they are a weird ski. They're designed to have like a really big shovel. You got 160 up here, 110 underfoot, and then 130 in the tail. So big discrepancy there between tip and tail. But the idea is get that ski into the nose and let the 8 millimeters camber underfoot, and that turn radius just kind of yank you around. So it's kind of this weird pow carver ski that just people loved. And people that ski that kind of ski, that's like the only kind of ski that they ski a lot of times. So decided to bring that back. Like I said, brought it back, a skinnier version I'm really excited about. I think that's more my cup of tea. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the general overview of the Shaman.
Gotcha. Yeah, so the shape immediately stands out.
Yeah.
It doesn't look quite as crazy as the original with the pointed nose, but it's still... It caught my eye as soon as I went past the Icelantic booth at the summit. But outside of the shape, what are we working with in terms of like core materials and construction?
Yeah. So core materials are actually relatively similar to the old one, right? When you're trying to create, we don't want to get too far of a departure from our old Shaman. We want it to feel similar. We wanted to bring a little bit of the profile into it, but when you look at the actual materials in it, we're still using a similar poplar core that what we've used in the past. Same triaxial fiberglass weaves from top and bottom, and a uni that goes over that. We do have a lot of rubber in our skis. Everybody's got rubber in their skis. It's a great bonding material. It's a great dampening material. We have a whole lot of it. And the reason being is we have these ABS sidewalls, or these Duracell sidewalls. A lot of other people have ABS. And that is what makes an Icelantic ski an Icelantic ski. It's polarizing, but what it does is it's thick and it's damp. So it makes that ski feel a lot damper. And that rubber is really helpful for bonding that Durasurf. Mm-hmm. Without it, Durasurf doesn't bond as well. But as I think most people are aware of, we have a very, very burly ski with a really good warranty, and that's a large part of it. But other than that, that's like been the construction of the Shaman for a long time. So we just tried to maintain that.
Gotcha.
And then, like I said, yeah, just a couple of changes to the shape overall.
Cool. So if someone is looking at Icelantic's 23-24 lineup, what sort of person do you think or have in mind in terms of gravitating towards the Shaman series versus, say, the Nomad Maiden or like Pioneer all mountain?
Oh, yeah. And that's like a very different skier. Mm-hmm. Like the Shaman is everything the Nomad isn't. Okay. Right? So you almost flip those upside down. Uh-huh. So the Shaman has 8 millimeters of camber underfoot. The Nomad's got 2. Mm-hmm. The Shaman has 15 centimeters of tail rocker. The Nomad's got 31. Mm-hmm. Now, this one we do actually have a decent amount of tip rocker in, unlike the old one. Like we've got 32 centimeters of tip rocker in this, just to make that turn initiation a little less easy. The old one had some bite to it. You know, like you got to boom. This one, like it's still going to try and yank you around, but you can also just roll it over a little bit. It's a little bit more forgiving, a little easier to initiate. The Nomad and the Maiden is designed to just be rolled over. And like when you get it over, like it's going to hold an edge really well. We didn't taper the tips, so you can get a really long effective edge for a rockered ski. This is designed to try and get the entire effective edge out of the ski and have a lot of energy in and out of each turn. Nomad's rolly, you're not trying to bounce in and out of turns. This one wants to take you from this turn to this turn quickly and with like a lot of pop to it, so that you feel the life and the energy under the ski. So it's designed for somebody who loves just the art of a very good turn, the art of the carve, but they're not trying to be like a head super shape, or even like a line blade. Like the line blade is something that is more of a leg burner than this thing is trying to be. This one has a little bit more versatility, a little bit more forgiveness. So when you do get a day like we're getting today and tomorrow, like, hey, I'm going to take that 110 or even that 99 out, and it's going to be fun in the steeps. Whereas the Nomad is that free ridey kind of ski, a little bit lazier, roll it over, looking for something to jump off of kind of ski.
Gotcha. Yeah. I was out yesterday on the Shaman 99. Yeah. It was pretty firm. But yeah, it's not like, it doesn't have a slalom ski radius. It's tight-ish, but it's not like super hooky or anything like that off piste. And like the fun thing here, like testing so many skis, a lot of brands make a lot of really good versatile skis, but it's fun to get on something that's so different and still had a good time. Like it takes a bit more to like get used to it, but like once I did, it's a unique ride that became a lot of fun. And
that's kind of the goal. We want it to fill a certain niche. We're not trying to copy what other people are doing. Like our goal on the ski wall is kind of to be different, because there's a lot of other skis out there that have been doing it for a long time. So we want to be a little different. But you're right. It's not a super tight radius. On the like 169, it's 13 meters.
Gotcha.
On the 176, it's 15. And then on the 182 that you were on, it gets all the way up to 17, which is like, okay, you're not even that tight anymore. But on the 176 will for sure be our best-selling model. It is tight enough to be like, oh, yep, there it is.
Yeah. All right, so we just touched on the new Shaman skis. Tell us a bit about the ski you're sitting next to now.
Yeah, so I've got the Pioneer X right here and the Pioneer 109. Pioneer 109, same as it ever was. Just a new top sheet on it because that's what we do. We make skis pretty, and we keep trying to make them different pretty every year, which is hard. And then the Pioneer XO is a brand new ski for us. Well, I said brand new is a strong term. We took the Pioneer 96, which is still in the line, and beefed it up a lot. I think I want to be careful saying this, but like the Pioneer 96 in some ways is a glorified dad ski. There's some people who are on that ski ripping it, but every company, every brand has that ski in the line. And it's something that works well as an all-mount ski that's approachable. And it's one of our best-selling skis. That and the Nomad 105 are neck and neck. So it's a good ski. But we said, hey, we're going to take that ski and we're going to answer kind of a call to a market we don't play much in, which is a beefier, burlier version of that. So we took that 96 and just changed up the construction of it. So what we've done on this is we've taken the standard poplar core we throw in everything and said, okay, get rid of that. We're going to take some of the poplar that was in there, though, and we're going to create birch along the tip and tail and down the middle, and then just kind of a poplar stringer in between those two.
Okay.
Birch is definitely a harder, heavier wood than poplar is. And that alone makes a pretty substantial difference in both the weight of the ski. Not crazy. It's 180 grams on the core.
Okay.
Just the wood core with the sidewalls attached to it. And then we added a recluse carbon weave. So we've got a weave around it. It's a biaxial technically. And that was to give it a little bit more of the ski industry's favorite word of torsional rigidity, right? And we say that because you need it. If you have a ski without it, it's going to feel really weird going edge to edge. And yeah, it skis quite a bit different than that 96. If you look at the 109, it's a pretty damp, heavy, crud busting kind of ski. And the 96 does those things well, but the Pioneer X basically now does what the 109 does, but at a narrower waist width.
Gotcha.
And with a little bit more memory, like a little more snap back to that camber feel.
Gotcha.
So you have a little more rebound, but it's designed to be that damp kind of race car ski.
Gotcha. And then, so in terms of construction, we've got an added layer of carbon. You've got birch in the core. Anything else you want to touch on there?
We also updated the base material on it. So the 96 is still coming with the crown that we've done forever. It's a Duracell 4000. It's super, super durable. And that's because, like, that's our calling card for skis. We want them to be durable.
Durable and different pretty every year.
Yes. Yeah. So we're doing that. But then with a lot of the skis in our lineup, the Shaman's included, the Nomad line, etc., the Maiden line. We're doing more of a high carbon ESO base that a lot of the rest of the industry, it's a little softer. So it tunes a little bit cleaner. It's not quite as durable, but it's what everybody's using. And it's just a little bit faster overall.
Gotcha.
And the objective of this ski is speed. So we want it to be fast. It's the same thing with the Shamans. We want it to feel like you can get it around quickly. We want that base to be as fast as possible.
Gotcha. And so in the Pioneer line, the regular 96 still around?
Yep, regular 96 still around. So we have an 86, a 96, and a 109. And now we're adding the X as well, which is that 96 shape.
Gotcha. So the skis we just talked about, the Shaman series, also brand new. How would you compare and contrast the Pioneer series versus the Shaman?
Yeah, they're both considered part of our all mountain collection. And that's like a funny, broad term to use, I think, in the industry. But they're quite a bit different. Despite a 109 and a 110 being 1 millimeter waist width apart, they're really different. The Pioneer X and the 99 are 3 millimeters different, but they're still very different skis. Like those have a 8 millimeter camber and a huge discrepancy between their tip and waist width to creating a really tight turn radius. These are not so much. You have a little bit longer turn radius on these. They, like in the 174, for example, this is a 17 meter turn radius, and then it's 19 for the 182, and then 188 is up to 20. So they're not like, super wide GS skis kind of thing. But they're designed to say, hey, like, and it's only 5 millimeters of camber as well. So you kind of get that thing on edge, and you're trying to go fast down the hill. Like you're still on edge and still turning, but it wants to be fast. With the Shaman is you're going to be making a lot more turns down the mountain. Yeah. And that's like the big difference. If you're somebody who wants like, hey, I want a good carve and I want to feel that energy, we're going to give you the Shaman. If you want speed, stability, but still have that leverage in the snow from a longer camber profile, then you're probably looking at the Pioneer X and the whole Pioneer series.
Got it. So we went over some of the all-new skis that you guys have coming out next year. What about one of the long-standing series, the Nomads? Yeah,
long-standing series. Yeah, we've kind of gone with the approach on this one, don't fix what isn't broken, because these are our best-selling skis pretty much every year, along with that Pioneer 96 that we beefed up. But that methodology stands. We really haven't changed these much over the years. Occasionally we've played with a little core materials here and there, but they're kind of the same profile, tried and true, as they've always been. This year, the theme was put a bird on it. So we got some birds on but they are still what kind of drive the ethos, I think, of Icelantic in a lot of ways, along with the Maiden series, which is kind of that sister series, if you will, which is a little more free ride oriented, wider, even wider than some of them may say. It's Nomad 105. And they're still doing the trick for us. They are like I said earlier, I'm talking about the Shamans, like they're 2 millimeters underfoot, ton of rocker. They got 36 centimeters of rocker up top, 31 in the tail. They're designed to be, quote, playful, surfy fun. And the idea is you can throw them aside. They're really fun and pow. We don't taper the tips, which makes them a little heavier swing weight, but it also gives a ski with this much rocker a pretty impressive capacity to carve. So like when you throw that on edge, it's not like a reboundy carver like a Shaman will be or something like that, but it's going to hold surprisingly well for a ski that looks like it's designed to ski and pow alone. And like these two are my daily drivers, the 105 and the 95. The 95, they all get a little stiffer as they get wider. The 95 is kind of a noodle. It's what we use for park kids and stuff like that. And it's kind of a little almost all mountain jib ski, if you will, but it does really well in pound because of its rocker. The 105, the not so hidden secret of the 105 is that it is actually a 110, but we sell it like a 105, and it's sold more than any other ski in the history of Icelandic, bar none. And it's just really fun. Like people use it as their daily driver all over the U.S., primarily on the west side of America, but it's a lot of fun. There's nothing it can't quite do. And I know every brand has some capacity of that, but I really think that ski does that well. Like I was talking about earlier with the sidewall material, it's like huge on these skis for those skis to feel that damp for having a substantial amount of rocker. And then the 115, all of these have the same rocker profile. So literally they have the same camber plate, same tip and tail plate. So they look the same. But the cores get thicker and thicker and thicker. That poplar wood core in there is what we've been using for a long time, and it works. The 115 is a big boy ski. I call it the huck your meat ski. And it's like when you want to just go send it, it has one of the most stable landing platforms like I've ever been on. And if you're just a bigger dude, it's an undeniably fantastic pow ski. And some guys like it as their daily driver. I think that's a bit aggressive. But yeah, so when you like taper that down, like all of these have like pretty strong landing platforms, which is pretty fun for those skis. Whether that's just like, hey, I'm going to do little side hits, or you're like going for it, or transition, like a little training bump, just that kind of thing. They all kind of excel in that department, if you will.
So Nomad, longstanding series, best-selling skis. Now let's talk about the women's equivalent, the Maiden series.
The Maiden series. The Maidens kind of like came from the Nomad line. So the Nomad 105 was just the Nomad for a long, long time. And then around 2015, we were like, okay, we're going to make this ski kind of like I said, into our ethos. So you created the 95 and the 115. We actually had a 125, which was a fully rockered Japan ski. And the Maiden came out that year as well, and it was just the Maiden 101, just this one in the middle, and it killed it. And to date, it's still the one we can't make enough of. The Maiden 101 is, it fulfills a certain niche, I think, of like that waist width and that skier type that does really, really well. But then out of that, we did the same thing with the Nomad, which was now we have a 91, a 101, and a 111, which is, again, our kind of broad disparity. You know, like a full centimeter between each ski is quite a bit. But similar to the Nomad, I mean, unbelievably similar to the Nomad. You got 2 millimeters of camber, same things up, tip and tail. They're a little thinner, and they come in different like shorter sizes, and that's just because women are a little bit smaller, you know. And the 91 is designed to kind of be a little bit parkier, but what we've seen is it also is something caters just like an easy skiing ski for when particularly on the East Coast, and that's where we cater that to as well with our Riveter all mountain selections. And it's like something like, hey, you're picking up skiing and you want a nice pair of skis, great. Like that's something that's very, very approachable. The 101 is the one ski quiver killer. That's for most of the U.S., primarily the U.S. market actually, and some of Japan actually. And it's done very, very well at that. It's an approachable width without like a lot of women's skis are in the high 90s where they get to the mids. So we kind of fill that niche right in there of a 101 width ski that's approachable, a lot of rocker. It's going to be good on a POW day. It's easy on days that are firm. Same thing. Don't taper the tip and tail, so you can still kind of get more effective edge than you think you could on a rockered ski like that. And then the 111 is the big ski. So this one actually comes in up to like a 177 as well, so it has additional lengths and doesn't come down on like the 155. This one's like, hey, this is for people who want a big ski. Like I said, same theme though. Put a bird on it. So we've got birds on this one, pretty different again, but I love the color palette on this one though a lot. But that's, like I said, it's the sister series of the Nomads. Everything that we did with that, we wanted to do with this. Now we kind of make all of those in conjunction, but at the time it came from that unisex or men's line, and has done just as well, if not better. So like with the Maiden and Nomad lines too, we make limited edition versions of our skis. We do that occasionally with the Pioneer series too, but they have different top sheets. So we do like the Rocky Mountain, the whole national park ones, the Rocky Mountain, Teton, Glacier. We do the 10th Mountain Division. I'm forgetting some. We do a ton of them, and we sell those direct a lot of the time, a little bit of wholesale, just because they are our best-selling skis, and they cater to a broad group of skiers. But yeah, that's the Maidens for you.
Sweet. So we're going to wrap things up now with the Pro Series.
Yeah. So the Maiden Nomad is our free ride line. In addition, on the free ride line, we have our Pro Series, if you will, or definitely as you will. And this was a kind of fun one for us to make. We got a bunch of our athletes together a couple years ago and said, okay, we want you to make a ski. We had a girls panel and we had a guys panel happen same day, but there was no communication at the same time. And they both came out making the same ski, which was pretty wild. And it was different than I expected it to come out as. But we said, hey, we don't need to make the hardest charging ski on the market. Not everybody's a professional athlete. We want this to be able to actually sell to the general consumer as well. And what they came out with was these really stiff, fully rockered skis that we now call the Saba and the Nia. Because we didn't really have that line. We had that Nomad 125 I alluded to, which was kind of a soft, fully rockered ski. Well, this one, they were like, hey, we want a little taper in the tip. Let's lower that swing weight. We want something that's stiff, and we feel like rocker's cheating. So, like, let's just get something that, like, we can throw on edge, but it's, you know, we want it to float well. We want it to be stiff. And when we land something, you know, we don't want it to wheelie out or anything like that. So what you ended up with was the Saba 117 and the Nia 105. Since then, they got together, and we have the Saba 107. Which was just a smaller rendition of this. They're all very, very similar skis. And they're designed, like I said, to be a ski that can charge hard. But I think a lot of times people look at fully rockered skis and they're not sure how to feel about them. They've gotten some of the best feedback on skis we've ever gotten, though, with people getting on them. The Nia is one of our best demoed skis year after year. And I get scared, I think, sometimes to put people on a fully rocker ski. I'm like, okay, let's just give it a couple, runs. Let me see how you feel. And people come back psyched on it. Part of that is reflective rocker, really, really common in fully rocker skis. You match the turn radius with the rocker profile. That makes the ski actually predictable. Otherwise, you can get a really unpredictable, thing just shoots out from under you. But these things will actually trench. When you get them over, the kind of chalky, crested Butte conditions y'all get out here, it's pretty fun to get that thing on, let it be stiff and not want to try and snap back into its cambered shape. But they're also really, really fun for the days where we're getting a lot of snow. They're designed primarily to do that very, very well. They still have that same poplar construction, same Durasurf sidewall. It's just a thicker wood core running through it that makes that stiffness. But it's really important that it is that stiff, because if it was softer, then you'd have this noodle of a rocker ski that's hard to play with. But yeah, that was a pretty fun ski for us to make and then bring to market and say, okay, this is what our athletes made, and they made it for you. They enjoy it, but they made it for also the general consumer, and they've done quite well in that process. Yeah. And we try and make them pretty, but look a little different than the rest of the line, a little more abstract with these ones. And then we've done flowers, cool flowers every year with that one, and it's always been our prettiest graphic every year.
Yeah, I think I skied the Saba Pro 117 last year at the summit. And it's a strong, when you're in softer snow, it feels like a strong ski that's nice on landings, but it's also super surfy. It's full reverse camber, so it's really easy to pivot around, and it wasn't you have to be charging straight down the fall line all the time type ski. Yeah. And that's the idea. So you can kind of make it your own. Choose your own line, and it's not forcing you, like I said, take the fall line. And if you do something relatively simple, it skis simply. Yeah. So. All right. Well, that's a wrap for now. Thank you very much for your time and being out here and telling us all about the new lineup. We appreciate you being here, and hopefully we'll ski soon. Oh, let's do it. Yeah. Sweet.